Hey, Steve Trimble in the Building Point teams. This FieldLink tip number 9 is fabrication verification. After laying out complicated assemblies, it is possible to QA/QC them. You'll see how in about 15 minutes we were able to QA/QC the fabrication to less than about 1/8 of an inch. So you can measure twice, but more importantly, weld and ship just once. Obviously, you would have actually gone out to the site and scanned the area you're going to be installing in, and then designed to fit that area. When you get into the shop, you're going to want to actually sometimes scan and compare back to make sure what you made is what you designed. Simple measurements like width and elevation changes of stairs are pretty easy to do with a tape measure, but can be pretty difficult when you have the curved surfaces like you see here. So this is a great workflow to essentially do if you're doing stairs, handrails, complicated mechanical piping that runs at different angles, large electrical conduits and duct banks and things like that. So how do we do this? There are a couple different ways. I could use a component setup, and what that would do is align this scan to the model just based on 3 points. But typically it's a little bit easier to do a manual pull. So what I'll do first in general is actually create a section box. And here you can see I have one turned on. I can add a new one and then bring that in to fit around the area. So I can bring in any model type to do this, right? And then I can start to align and fit to that. So any model type being IFC, Navisworks, Revit, SDS2, whatever you have, right? So here you can see I actually align that. You can then see I can actually start to rotate that scan by just clicking the outside. I'm on scan 1 and that'll move the rest of them. So once I do that, I can then rotate the scan or move it in the X and Y. I can also change the center of rotation, which is nice because then I can actually zoom in here, make sure this is where I like it, and then use, if I have a mouse wheel, use the zoom wheel to bring that in and make sure that I'm lining everything up as it should be on the other side of this component. The same rule of thumb that I'd use on site. I'm going to check in all 3 orientations. We can't do a side orientation because we want to actually kind of limit you when moving it. For this component setup, I am going to rotate the scan at a level to fit the orientation of the arbitrary orientation of how this scan is actually in there. So I'll look at that side and then this back side and kind of align. Once I'm fairly happy with where that is by just essentially pulling it and aligning it, I will then go into an inspection. And how that will happen is I just go to scan, inspection, and then run a quick inspection. Now, I want to try and take my time. Like you can see here, everything's within an inch, but actually I want to build this to 1/8. So I'm going to bring this down. I want to take my time when aligning it, but I can use this first go around to see, hey, I pulled this in a little bad. So what I'll do is actually come back, delete the first arbitrary orientation pull and redo it so that I actually take my time with this. So I will do that by coming in here and again, turning this off, making sure everything's aligned here. Sometimes I will change the view of what I'm looking at as well too. Top-down view. And start to align this. And try it one more time. Bring this down slightly. Make sure it's up here. So I'll go back, turn the full cloud back on, and run the inspection one more time and see what we get. So after I realigned it, I can see here, I'm actually pretty happy that's well within 1/4 inch. Maybe even bring that down just a little bit more so that the green lines up well. Yeah, 1/8 of an inch, everything is pretty well aligned there. 1/8 to about 1/4 on the side. So yeah, again, this is an arbitrary kind of alignment to the stairs, kind of how the stairs are arbitrarily standing. So it's a good check to make sure that that curve is the same radius that it should be, and I can have confidence that what I built matches what I designed, and I have a historical representation of that condition. So if it gets bent or it changes in transit, or when it gets there, when it's installed, if I'm the fabricator, I at least know exactly what I have, and I can always refer back to that. So thanks, and if you have any questions, please reach out to your nearest Building Point representative.